Hello, in this video we will discuss about few things about electric energy, electric power and few things about resistors, right? So let us start with the electric energy. In our earlier class we have discussed electric current, current density, resistor, the factors resistance and the factors affecting the resistance, resistivity and the factors affecting the resistivity of any conductor, right? So now we take on electrical energy. So what is electric energy? Suppose that we have some circuit of different components, electrical components, and to this electrical circuit we have connected some source of, or we can say, electric potential. This may be a battery or it may be the direct source, right? Suppose that I have this component. This is general component we make use in electrical circuit. This may be a bulb, it may be a electric iron, or it may be any other thing. So this is the resistance which is present in the circuit. Each and every component has some resistance, and let its resistance is R, and across this component we are connecting some source of energy. So this source is applying some potential difference of V volts across the two terminals of this component, right? So this source is sending some current I, for example, through this resistor R. So electrical energy is actually the work done by this source in maintaining some constant current through the circuit. So this current has to be maintained constant by this source of energy or source of electric potential. The work this source will do in order to maintain a constant current in the circuit, it is called as electric energy spent by the source, or electric energy which is consumed in the source. So electric energy, suppose that if I amount of current is maintained, so for some time t, so that means for time t some amount of charge has been maintained through this component R or resistor R. Equivalent amount of charge, because current is equal to charge per unit time t, so that means current depends upon the charge flowing. If charge is flowing, then current is, and if I amount of current is maintained through this resistor, so that means Q amount of charge is maintained to flow every time t through this circuit. So that means from the definition, this electric potential is making the charges move through this resistor R. So this electric potential which is making the charges to move, we can write it as V is equal to, from the definition of electric potential, as the work done by this source or by this potential, because this source is having potential V, the work done per unit charge. This is what we call as electric potential. So from here, this work, it is nothing but V into Q. So this is the work done by the source in maintaining I amount of current through the circuit, or in sending the Q amount of charge through the circuit. So we call whatever work is done by the source, it is called as the electric energy spent by the source, or we can also call this to be the electric energy consumed in the circuit. So therefore electric energy, it is equal to the amount of work done by the source in maintaining I amount of current in the circuit or sending Q amount of charge in the circuit. So therefore electric energy which is spent by the source or consumed in the circuit, it is given by V into Q. And we already know from here that Q, it is equal to I, current which is maintained through the circuit, and time t, this is the time for which the current is maintained. So therefore charge Q we can substitute from here. So we get the energy consumed, E is equal to V into Q stands for I into T. So this is the amount of energy which is consumed or energy which is spent by the source. right? Or we can simply write it as the W, with W, the amount of work done. So from here, let us take T to the left hand side. So what we get, this is the work done per unit time. So this gives the rate of work done with time, per unit time. So this is equal to, or we can say it is the work done in unit time, 1 unit of time. It may be second or hour, as we are making use of units for time t. So it is equal to V into I. This ratio, the rate, which is the rate of work done, it is called as the power. So power, which is the amount of work done per unit time, or rate of work done, this is equal to V into I. So this gives the rate at which energy is consumed, or we can say rate at which energy is spent by the source. So this is what we represent as power. So from here, the units for power are nothing but joule per second, or we commonly know it to be watt. Either we write it as joule per second or as watt. So these are few important terms which are necessary to understand for this topic. So electric energy, it is the energy which is spent by the source in order to maintain some amount of current, constant amount of current in the circuit for specified period of time. Or the amount of energy which is consumed is equal to amount of energy spent by the source. And electric power, it gives the information about how fast the energy is consumed, and it is given by rate of work done. So power, we define the power as the rate at which energy is consumed, or rate at which energy is spent by the source, or simply the work done by the source, rate at which work is done by the source. So from here we get the formula for power to be P is equal to V into I. If we take Ohm law, then it simply says that V is equal to IR. So from here, this is the resistance, R is the resistance of this component, it may be anything. So therefore from here we substitute value of V from Ohm's law here, so we get I into R into I. So that simply gives us another formula for the power, which is I square into R. Or in place of V, if we substitute the value of I, which is V upon R from here, so if we substitute I, we get V into I stands for V upon R, so it is V square upon R. So we have different formulas for power. So if we have to calculate the energy which is consumed, we make use of this formula. So from here we see that V into I, it is nothing but the power. So here we can substitute the value for power. So therefore energy which is consumed or energy which is spent, it is simply is equal to power into time t. So if we know the power of any component, for example a bulb or a tube light or a fan or a fridge or anything else, then we can calculate the energy which will be consumed in the given period of time. For example 1 hour or 2 hours, so we can calculate the amount of energy which will be consumed. Here the energy which is consumed, it is simply measured in power, which is measured in watt, and time, which is measured in second. So the units for energy consumed are watt second, and we already know that the units for energy are also joules. So either we say the watt second or joule. But for the practical purpose, this unit is so small that the number becomes so much large in our daily to daily life, right? So for that we make use of some bigger unit, bigger practical unit. So in place of watt, we take the power in kilowatt, and we take the time not in second but in hours. So therefore practical units for electrical energy consumed or electrical energy spent by the source is kilowatt hour. This 1 kilowatt hour, it is equal to 1 unit of energy which is consumed, which we take also in the household electric meters or any industry purpose. So 1 kilowatt hour means 1 unit of energy. So how much joule equals 1 kilowatt hour? So from here we can simply say that 1 kilowatt hour, this is equal to 3.6 into 10 to the power 6 joules. So these are the few important terms which are necessary in order to discuss the basic electrical circuits, where we use some component with some source. Another thing we take today is the color coding of carbon resistors. For the different kind of electronic circuits or electric circuits, we require different values of resistances. So there are different kinds of resistance which has different values. So this value and these components are quite small in the size. So in order to know about the resistance of any given resistor, there is some coding which is given over the resistor itself. So there are 4 bands which are taken on the resistor, and these 4 bands under some pattern specifies the value of that particular resistor, resistance of that particular resistor. So here is the table which is necessary to remember while we decode that color coding of the resistance of the resistor, right? So these are the colors which are generally mentioned over the resistor itself. So it is before that, let me just mention how these colors are mentioned. So this is the resistor I have drawn. So there are 3 bands which are close to each other, and the 4th band, it is color, it is quite separated. So we keep the 3 color bands on the left hand side. We hold the resistor just like this, and 1 color to the right, so that it becomes easy to decode, right? So the value of resistance of this resistor is written as a 2-digit number multiplied by some order 10 to the power something, right? And there can be some error. So that error is called as tolerance. This is the tolerance. It may be more or less the actual value shown here. Okay. So here it is a 2-digit number. So from this color coding, how do we know the resistance? The first color gives the first digit, second color gives the second digit, third color gives the order, and fourth color gives the error this value may have, right? So from this situation, there is a table from which we read all these values. So these are the colors which are generally mentioned in the first 3 bands. So these 3 colors are mentioned over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 colors. It is B. The first color is black. Second B, which is brown. Third R, which is red. Fourth orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, gray, and then last one is white. And the digits which are associated with these colors are given just as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If it is a brown color, it will be 1. It will represent 1 number. If it is a yellow color, it will represent 4, and so is the case. For both of these two, we make use of these colors. And the third color, it gives the order. So if there is any, for example, it is the third color is red here. So it gives 10 to the power 2, the second order of the 10. Plus and minus some error which may be there. So this is called as tolerance. So if it is a gold, then tolerance will be 5%. If this band is silver, it will be 10%. And if there is no fourth color, there is no color over here, then it will represent the errors to be 20%. So I have made this representation of color coding of resistance. So I can see that in this resistor, first color is blue. So from this table, I see that blue will represent the value 6. So I take the value 6 as the first digit. Second color is green. So it will give me the second digit. So here it is green. It will give me value 5. Multiplied by third color will give me the order. So third color is red, so it will give me the value 10 to the power 2. And of course, there will be some tolerance, or we can say error. So if fourth color is gold, I don't have any gold color, so I have just written gold over here. If it is gold, then that means its tolerance will be 5%. If it is silver, then it will be 10% here. And if there is no color over here, then it will represent the error to be 20%. So that means a more accurate resistor will be the one which has the least tolerance, or we can say least chances of error, which is for gold color, right? So if the fourth color is gold, it is said to be most accurate of the resistors. So this is how we read the resistance of the given value of the resistor. You can see this table very carefully. You can remember it as BB. This is BB, Roy, Great Britain, very good wife. So you can remember this table in that manner, or in any other way which you feel easy to remember. Next thing is about the combination of resistors. So we may come across the situation where we don't have the specified value of resistors, but we can make use of the available resistors by combining them to achieve some specified resistor. So for that we must know the combinations in which the resistors could be connected. So combinations of resistors. So there could be two combinations. First one is the series combination. In series combination, the resistors are connected end to end. Suppose that we have two resistors. I am taking the simplest case of two resistors. This is the resistor R1, and we have another resistor, for example R2. So whenever they are connected end to end, suppose that R1 resistor is connected to the R2 resistor, and the other ends of the two are connected to the other part of the circuit, or we can say source, just like this. So this combination, it is called as the series combination of the resistors. This. So if we connect the resistors in series and apply some potential V, so that there will be some current which will flow through the circuit depending upon what resistance these two resistors connected in series will produce, right? So what will be the effective resistance of these two resistors? Effective resistance means if there will be one effective resistance, that would mean either we make use of two resistors R1, R2 and connect them in series, or we take the single equivalent resistance and connect here. It will give the same value of current, right? So what will be the equivalent value of resistance or net value of resistance whenever the two resistors are connected in series? So let us find the formula. So in this situation we see that current I will flow through both of these resistors, means same amount of current will flow through these two resistors, because current has only one path. But the values of these two resistors may be different. Suppose that they are different, then they will draw different potentials from the source. Suppose that out of this given potential of the source, R1 will draw some potential V1 and R2 will draw some potential V2, because two resistors are connected at different points, or we can say of the circuits. So we see that from the diagram that in order to allow this much amount of current through the resistors R1, R2, these two resistors draw some potential from the source. R1 takes V1 potential and R2 takes the remaining potential, which is V2. So that means the net potential of the source, it will be distributed among the two resistors. So if there are three resistors, this will be distributed in three resistors depending upon their value. One which is having higher value of resistance, it will draw more potential because it will require more amount of potential to allow the same amount of current through itself. And other one which is having the low value of resistance will take only less potential to allow the same amount of current through itself. So net potential V here, it is nothing but V1 plus V2. So this is the net potential. And from Ohm's law we know that V is nothing but I into R, where I is the amount of current flowing through the circuit and R is the effective resistance of this combination. So therefore we can substitute I into R in place of V, which is equal to, so V1 will be I, the current flowing through it, which is same I into its resistance, which is R1. V1 is the potential across resistance R1, so V1 it is written as I into R1 plus V2, which is equal to I into R2. So from here, this I on the right hand side is common, so it just cancels out on both sides. So we are left with only the net resistance or effective resistance R. It is equal to R1 plus R2. So this remains the formula for the effective resistance whenever we join the two resistors in series with each other in a circuit. So these two resistors, for example, gives the net value to be R1 plus R2. So either we make use of two resistors R1, R2 and join them in series to get value of current to be I, or we take one resistance of value R, so that same amount of current will flow through the circuit for the same value of electric potential. So this is the series combination of resistors. If we have another resistor, then we simply add its resistance also. So if there can be any number of resistances, we simply sum their resistances in order to find out the net resistance if they are connected in series. Second kind of combination is the parallel combination. So in series, net resistance is given by R1 plus R2. Suppose that same two resistors are connected in parallel. So this is the situation, for example, R1 and another resistor, it is R2, and in parallel combination this one end of both resistors are connected at same point and other ends of both the resistors are connected at the same point, another same point. So this combination of resistors is called as the parallel combination. Suppose that we have applied some potential of V volt as we did in earlier case. So that some amount of current I is flowing through the circuit. Now because two resistors R1, R2 are connected across same 2 points, so both of these two resistors are having the same value of potential. So the potential across A and B, it is nothing but V. So both are having the same potential V. Across R1 it is V and across R2 it is also V. What happens to the current? The net current flows through is I. So at this point, this current will find two paths. One through resistor R1 and another path it will find through resistor R2. Suppose that some current I1 will flow through resistor R1 and current I2, remaining current, which we can write as I2, it will flow through resistor R2. So that means net current, it is equal to I1 plus I2. Again we can make use of Ohm's law, which simply says that I, it is nothing but V upon R. So this is the net value of current, which is equal to net potential divided by net resistance of the circuit, which is given by these two resistors in parallel. So this will be equal to I1. So in the same steps we can write I1. We have written I to be V upon R and I1 becomes, potential is same but resistor is R1, plus I2, potential is same, which is V, but resistor is R2. So from here we see that V comes common and it just cancels out, and the formula to calculate the effective resistance R is actually the effective resistance. So this will be calculated by using this formula. So 1 upon R, which is on left hand side, it is given to be 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2. If we have another resistor connected which is also in parallel, so we write 1 upon R3. So when reciprocals of these are added, we get the formula so that we can calculate the effective resistance R from the circuit. So formula to calculate the effective resistance R in parallel combination, it is given by 1 upon R. This is equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2. So if we observe carefully, when we connect the two resistors in series, we get net resistance which is more than any of the two, right? And when we connect the resistors in parallel, we get value of resistor effective resistance R which is less than the smallest of all the resistors which are connected. So if